What we're seeing right now, you guys, is just pure madness. It's insanity. There's really no other way to describe it. I'm going to show you 3 stories that came out just yesterday, all on the same day. And tell me if you see a running theme here. The first one is from Reuters. Islamic State threat, quote, beyond anything we've seen. Pentagon. That's right. U.S. Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel told reporters at the Pentagon that ISIS is an imminent threat to every interest that America has, whether it's in Iraq or anywhere else. Now that obviously is one of those statements that can have multiple hidden meanings. We all know what a lot of the U.S. interests are. Anyway, that aside, however, he was asked whether or not ISIS posed a threat to the United States comparable to the attacks of September 11th, and Hagel said that ISIS was as sophisticated and well-funded as any group the Pentagon had ever seen. Then he went on to say, quote, they are beyond just a terrorist group. They marry ideology, a sophistication of military prowess. They're tremendously well-funded. This is beyond anything we've seen. So he went there with it, okay? Then you have Rick Perry openly saying that ISIS may very well already be here in the United States due to our porous southern border, which is just wide open. Who knows who's coming through there? It's just wide open. I mean, look at this. You even had somebody in the crowd of protesters in Ferguson with signs that say ISIS is here. And what he's saying isn't even really scaremongering in and of itself because, well, we've already had James O'Keefe, documentary filmmaker, dress up as bin Laden and cross the border twice just to make the point, okay? So this isn't even in dispute that the entire war on terror is basically null and void now because, I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at this picture. So it doesn't even matter. So Rick Perry saying this, it's kind of something we all know, but he is saying it, and he is saying it at the same time this story is coming out from Chuck Hagel. Then we have this. Former Deputy CIA Director, quote, I would not be surprised if an ISIS member shows up to a U.S. mall tomorrow with an AK-47. Mike Morrell told CBS this morning, quote, the short-term concern is the Americans that have gone to fight with ISIS and the West Europeans that have gone to fight with ISIS could be trained and directed by ISIS to come to the United States to conduct small-scale attacks. If an ISIS member showed up at a mall in the United States tomorrow with an AK-47 and killed a number of Americans, I would not be surprised. And then starts warning that they're going to plan 9/11 style attacks to kill thousands of Americans because that's their whole goal. They're going to drown everyone in blood, yada yada blah blah, okay? What he's saying is already actually on record, not the horrible scaremongering about the malls, but what he's saying about them coming here is not even in dispute at all because this was released back in June. Former State Department official Andrew Doran came out and said that some of these people fighting with ISIS are actually Western combat veterans who already have passports and immigration paperwork and could easily come back here. Of course, as I just showed you, they wouldn't need a passport or anything. They could just come here if they wanted to. It really doesn't matter. But the point is, look at this. We're coming up on another 9/11 anniversary, and what are we seeing? We're seeing our government scaremongering to the hilt that ISIS is going to kill a whole bunch of Americans on American soil at a time when they're leaving our border open. But beyond that, at a time when we know on record they're the ones who trained ISIS and funded them. Why is it that Chuck Hagel is just, it's beyond anything we've ever seen. They have such military prowess. They're so well funded. Gee, I wonder how they got that way. Could it be because they were being trained at a CIA Special Forces base in Jordan, jointly trained with Turkey and Jordanian officials and the U.S. government, training future ISIS members by the hundreds? Could that be why? Could it be because we're still giving them aid? Although when we give them aid, millions and millions of dollars in aid, we still call them the Syrian rebels. When we were training them, we called them the Syrian rebels. In fact, this article in WND, they had to update it because they were told to correct it. It says, this story has been corrected to clarify the fighters trained in Jordan became members of ISIS after the training. Yes, at the time they were the Syrian rebels. Then later they decided to become ISIS members. Oops. But the point is, What we're doing here is we're opposing ISIS in Iraq. We're supporting them in neighboring Syria. That's what's going on. And now the same government that funded and trained and basically created these terrorists is the same government that's now, along with the media, scaring the hell out of everyone as much as they possibly can that these people are about to come here, that the government's creation is about to come here and perpetrate terror on our soil. You want to know what terrorism is? This is terrorism. This right here, this is terrorism. And this is terrorism. And this is terrorism.
Because right now we have a situation where the West is opposing ISIS rebels in northern Iraq, and rightly so, but has been tacitly or implicitly supporting them in Syria. It's madness.